It's always more appealing when people are following you, paying attention to you, they're commenting on your stuff, they're asking you for information. And I have two of the most brilliant, badass marketers on the planet. They're two very good friends. They have the utmost integrity. They work so hard all the time. They show up, they do the things, and they're always so positive. But also, they're killing it. They're killing it on multiple platforms. They're very, very good at engagement, content creation. Drop it to the comments and let me know if you want to be a part of it, because they're going to do a 3-day program, 3-day workshop that's going to blow your mind. And it's like $27. It's like crazy cheap and affordable. What you've created over the last several years using social and how you've gotten engagement, I think that would be awesome for people to hear, because I know most people are probably struggling right now with getting eyeballs on their stuff.
It's actually crazy what we've been able to accomplish in the last year, because as you know, John, because you know me, I went through a long period of being in Suckville and trying out a lot of things that didn't work very well for me. We've managed to create a following over 1.4 million engaged people. And I really want to focus on the fact that they are super engaged, because that is the critical component. Like, we don't really care about vanity metrics, of it just having a bunch of followers. It might feel good, but it's actually not the point of the thing. What's really important for Nicole and I, especially when we're coaching people, is we want you to make money. There is nothing wrong with that, right? We don't want any volunteer content creators all up in here. You want to get paid for the amount of value you're bringing to the marketplace and for the amount of impact that you're making. So it's not just about the engagement and the followers. You need to make money doing this thing, right? But in order for you to make money doing the thing, engagement comes first. So it's still important. But where Nicole and I have managed to completely hone in and laser focus, what we've been able to accomplish by doing that is actually figuring out how to get the right kind of people following you. That leads to the engagement, obviously, but the sales and the signups continually. And we've done this, and John, you've seen it happen, because people have reached out to us and they were like, what on earth are you doing? What we do is we start accounts and we test the ish out of things. And things that don't work, we don't tell you about, okay? But the things that do work, we then go to another platform, start another account, and we duplicate our process to see if it will work again. Because we're not interested in one-offs, in unicorns, in things that only work for people who have massive amounts of influence. So we keep starting these things where nobody knows us, where we have no influence, where people don't know to even look for us. And we have duplicated our results on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook. Now we're doing it on Pinterest. Stay tuned. And it works anywhere. It would even work in person, because, John, we figured out messaging and who to put messaging in front of. And we've simplified that process to the point of the ridiculous.
There's certain posts that you'll put out there. It's not that people aren't interested. It's that what you're posting isn't interesting, right? Because if you're getting crickets on your content, it's a direct indication that, like, what you're doing isn't working. But it's good to test it out too. So you don't want to, like, live in fear and, like, not put stuff out there. But like you said, you're not going to tell people something that isn't working. Although you might do it in the sense that, hey, we tried this and it doesn't work. Don't do it, because we did. But here's what we learned from it and what we did create. And that's really the power in learning from experts. You can reduce the learning curve. And what works for Stacy and Nicole might not work for you. So that's why you want to learn from people, but then you also want to implement. You want to test and tweak, because the things that I do is a little different than what the next person's going to do. And that's the beauty of social media. You figure out your way of communicating. And Nicole, maybe you could share, because I see your videos are always popping off and going viral. What were some of the things that you figured out over the last couple of years to really gain so much attention on social?
Thanks for asking, John. So we're not unicorns, none of us. Anybody that's really become influencers, anybody can do this. And when people ask us the question, I don't know what my niche is, I don't know what to talk about, I'm like, well, that means that you probably are sitting in fear and you haven't shown up and done anything, because you don't know what to talk about until you start to do. You've got to get out there and start talking about the things that you're good at. You know a little bit of things about something that other people need. You are not your own island. There are a million people just like you. And once you figure that out and you hone in on that micro niche and then micro niche it again and talk about nothing else but that one problem you solved, then you're going to get the audience. And so, like, for instance, I have not really focused on Instagram at all. Like I've had Instagram, I've had the account for 11 years, right? And it kind of set at 2,000 followers for 11 years. I like built it up to, and I just let it go because I tried. It was always my afterthought. I would focus on TikTok. I would focus on Facebook. I built massive accounts there. And then I think it was like 2 months ago, almost 8 weeks ago, Julie Reynolds and we talk on the daily, and she's like, yeah, I started to like grow my Instagram account and it like blew up. I'm like, really? What'd you do? You know? And it's exactly the same thing that we teach all the time. Micro niche that one thing. And I know what she talks about and what she's good at and she's an expert at. And when I say an expert, you don't have to be an expert with products that you sell. Okay.
Yep,
but
right.
You can be an expert, an authority is a better word, on something that you really love, something you're good at. And when it's therapeutic for you to show up with that one thing and make a video every day, and it doesn't feel like it's a hassle, it doesn't feel like a struggle, it doesn't stress you out, then you may have found your thing. And now once you find that thing, find out what it is inside of that thing that's going to provoke someone to go to your link and buy something. That's the key. So when Julie said that, it put a fire under my butt, and I'm like, I'm going to go build Instagram. And so I literally, y'all, took videos that were viral on another platform because Stacy and I have tested it, and I repurposed it. Each video in one micro niche, one thing. I mean, one. You feel like a broken record. You're not, because you want new eyeballs every day. It's new to the new person, right? I repurposed that for 1 month, and in 1 month gained 80,000 followers.
So I was like, well, I'm not going to stand for that. I'm not going to stand for that. We're very competitive, obviously, right? So I had a new account on Instagram that I wasn't growing, same thing. So I was like, I'm going to start doing the same thing. And I've only been doing it for a couple weeks, but I'm almost at 10,000 already. Once you know how to make it happen, the power is in knowing, because now you can just go out and do it. I'd say the biggest mistake we see people making, John, is they're still trying to do the kind of lifestyle brands that were really popular 5 years ago.
Yeah.
We used to teach people, talk about 3 to 5 things you like. Talk about home, talk about this, talk about that. Oh, you like soccer? Talk about soccer. That doesn't work anymore. So the only time lifestyle brands, as it were, work really well for people is if they already have a lot of influence. And so people are already listening to them, and then they can talk about whatever they want, like a Chalene Johnson or a John Melton, right? I mean, you could talk about pickleball. People are still going to show up because they like John, right? And or if you are super charismatic, which you also are. Right? So if someone turns on a camera and it's just like, there's no camera that doesn't love you, then if you're like that naturally, or you've honed that over years, you can talk about whatever you want. You're going to be successful. And we know those people because we see them. They're crushing it. They're talking about all kinds of things. For the average or ordinary person who doesn't know how to do this thing right, and they're not getting a lot of engagement, they're not getting a lot of sales, they're not getting a lot of signups, the best thing you can do is what Nicole just said. Figure out what you really love and laser focus on one key thing. So if you want to solve a problem around people who don't know how to eat low glycemic, let's just throw that out there. And you literally just made videos about how to eat low glycemic. That's all you talked about. Not saying you have to do that forever, but to build your influence and build that massive following who hangs on your every word fast. And they buy, John, they buy. Then go and make videos every day about low glycemic eating and watch what happens. You will be absolutely floored. They're not bored. You can talk about that same thing every single day from a slightly different angle, and they want the repetition. They come to you for that repetition because they know you're going to hit it just a slightly different way every day. You're going to talk about, just give them that little tiny tip. And because they're 1-minute videos, there's not a lot of time invested. And by the way, it still works with posts. It still works in stories. It still works in live broadcasts. It's the same dang thing. It's just in a different format.
So when you start comparing yourself to the Nicoles and the Stacys, you'll get discouraged. But if you look at what they're saying and you listen to them, they started out just like you, doing nothing, and then starting brand new accounts from scratch. So what they're doing is proven to work because, again, Nicole was doing nothing for 11 years, 2,000 followers on Instagram, 1 month, 80,000 new followers. So clearly there is a formula. There's a recipe. Now, I would be curious, Nicole, maybe you could talk about what are some of the posts that you see that get good engagement? Is it still like Reels? Is it before and afters? Is it live broadcasts? Like, what are you seeing? What are you doing that's working best for you?
We're very specific about what you need to say. And that shouldn't make you nervous. It shouldn't stress you out. It's about knowing who you are and who you're talking to. And then what we do, once we figure that out, we break it down because there's psychology built into this. Mm-hmm. When you know how to solve a problem, well, first of all, when you show a pain point to someone, you put it out there to that perfect person, and then you pull that pain point back and you offer a solution that's simple and sustainable. People are now interested. When you give them 20 tips, they're not interested. And this is one of the things that we see is one of the biggest issues is that people are putting posts out there and it says long post alert, right? And I'm like, I scroll, I'm gone. I don't even want to know. I'm like, don't even warn us. If your story is going to be speaking to the right person, it can be a freaking novel. It doesn't matter. It's like copy. Any good marketer that knows how to build a funnel and build copy for anything that they're selling, you know, Stacey says this all the time because she's a genius at it. But the whole idea is you just want them invested in that first line. And then you want them invested in that second line. And then you want them invested in that third line. And so what we do in this workshop is we break that down into different types of posts. And what we want you to be able to do is work smarter instead of harder and not be on your phone 12 to 14 hours a day by putting up a pinned post or a pinned reel. It just depends on what really pops off for you. So you become an authority, because if you are out there making the stuff and you're getting all eyes on you across all the platforms, people that need what you have and want what you have are going to come back to your home base. Most of the time, it just depends on where they found you. You can put a pinned post on TikTok. You can put a pinned post on Instagram. You can put a pinned post on Facebook. And what are they going to do? They're going to come back and they're going to see the season of life you're living in. They're going to see the banner of your family. Don't be the person in a suit with their hands over their chest. You know, you're not in real estate. And if you are in real estate, maybe that'll work for you. But we need to see the real person. We just need to see the real person. We need to see a smiling profile pic, right? We don't need to just see you on a beach 50 feet back. We don't know if that's the person that we want to know. Be very clear and direct, because the next thing you're going to do, they want to get invested in you, is they're going to see that pinned post. They're going to look at it. And if that pinned post tells them you're basically your feel found, where have I been and where am I going? People like to hang on to your coattails because they need someone that's going to lead them where they're going when they don't know what to do. How many times do people go out to Google and they type in something that's going to solve their problem, but they don't really know how to ask it? I got this ache in my back and I can't get rid of it. Right. Well, what if somebody just slaps some castor oil on it and you see this video and all of a sudden there's no more back pain? They're going to figure out how to find you because you may just be the person that they need. And when you have that pinned post talking about your experience and your pain point, what it's done for you, or maybe it's somebody else's pain point and how you helped them. Always toot your horn when you're good at helping someone with something. Please don't ever hold back from tooting your horn and letting people know what you're good at. But I'll tell you with one of the most powerful things that is blowing up network marketers' accounts right now are lives. And we are going to break down lives for you as well, because lives is where it's at. And I know that may make you want to pass out. You're feeling the blood like rushing to the back of your ears right now. But when you have a blueprint, not a script, no, but a blueprint of how you need to speak while you're live to actually get sales while you're still live, that's what Stacey and I are good at. Because we have so many friends that they are at the top of their network marketing company. Their leaderboards. They're at the top every week. And I tell you, John will say it right now. How many of them do you know go live, John?
Yeah, most of them. Absolutely. Especially the top promoters, top sellers, the ones that generate the most leads. And it's just, do you have to do it? Of course not. But you're probably not going to like dominate the leaderboard when you're competing with people that are going live. And you know what? Some of them are very direct. Like they are straight up selling in their live videos and it's working well.
Nothing wrong with that. If you look to what's going on at cultures that are a bit more advanced than us in this is what's happening. Like if you look at some of the Asian marketplaces, it's like Shop-A-Rama 24/7 over there, and they have no issue with it. And that is what's coming. So for us, like you're talking about pivoting and just always being on the cutting edge of what's going to work. That's why they're creating so much success, because the marketplace has drastically shifted and the consumer is so much more educated than they've ever been. And they now, this is like our dream come true, right? They now come to you ready to buy. Like that used to be a joke. We used to train people. People aren't out there just throwing their wallets at you. I'm like, they are now, because it's just the culture shifted. They come on to my live ready to buy. They're like, what you got? Where can I get it? It's never been like that before. So no, you don't have to go live. But if you like making money, then it's advisable, right? We're gonna talk about that. But we're actually going to break down, John, which is crazy for $27. By the way, just so you know, this workshop has sold at 10 times the price very well. We decided to give it for $27 because we crossed over to 1,000 students who had gone through this workshop. So we kind of felt like excited. And so that's why we're giving it for $27. So jump in. We're going to break down the 3 key power posts that are responsible for 80% of our revenue. And so day 1, we're going to cover something called the demo post. So if you've ever struggled with how do I present my product, my service, my opportunity in a video, a quick reel, or on a post, or in a live, in a story, how do I do that in a way that is not spammy, in a way that is focused on finding a pain point, twisting the knife, bringing in the solution, talking about feelings and what it does, not what it is, all of those things. How do you do that? What does that actually look like? And we give them specific video clips to watch as an example and model so they can see what that looks like. Day 2, we're going to cover the journey post. How do you share your story? How do you deal with the dreaded what do you do question without skipping a beat, right? We're going to cover that in the journey post, day 2. And day 3, we're going to cover the intro post. How do you tell people who you are and how you help them in a way that magnetizes the right people to you? So we always have one of those pinned at some point during the month to our platforms.
Can you also give some examples of some of your videos that have popped off, like some of the virality and like leads, views, comments, any of that kind of like data? I think that would be really impressive too, because I've seen some of the stuff you guys got going on.
It's crazy. I mean, Nicole could give you a million examples. What I will say is something that I've been testing, and I'll pass it over to you because Nicole's got some great examples. I have tested this, and I hate to admit it, but it is so true. When you're doing titles, hooks for your videos, people will always push away from pain faster than they'll go towards pleasure. So when you are doing a title that says 3 ways to sleep like a baby, they will respond far less to that than you're not sleeping well because you're screwing it up. You're doing it wrong. When you focus on the negative, I hate to say it, but it's true, because you're pointing out the wrong, the bad, the ick. When you point out the ick, then they're like, oh, I'm doing it wrong? Well, how do I do it right? Every single time I do that, it goes crazy. It goes bananas in pajamas.
They do. It's the high quality leads that like it. And when I say high quality lead, it's not high quality human, it's high quality lead. Right. And that's what you want in your business. And so if you got the messaging down and you're bold and your posture, that has nothing to do with how many sales you've made. Please understand that. Show up with the confidence and the vision. Give them a little bit of spanking of where they're messing up, and they're going to thank you for it, because there's a lot of people out there that really want it to work, and they're showing up every day, and they need someone to guide them, and they don't want to pull over and smell the roses and have their hand held. They want to get to work, roll up their sleeves. They want to know now what they're doing wrong so they can fix it, and they will. And when you talk with that type of confidence and posture, you're going to attract the people that are going to build your business to the moon.
Yeah,
you want independent business owners.
The key is to find something you genuinely love that you want to talk about, and you can sell candles on the back end. It doesn't matter what you're selling. We sell all kinds of things, right? The key is to find a way to find your community through the problem you're solving, and then they will buy anything that you love because they love you.
Stacey, Nicole, I appreciate you so much. Y'all, listen, get registered for this workshop. It's crazy cheap. It's a no-brainer, but it's worth 100x the price that you're paying. Plus, the VIP option is a really good option for those of you that are real serious about becoming a marketing master in 2025. So get registered. It's a 3-day workshop. You're going to love it. Nicole and Stacey, you're the bomb.com. Thank you.